Welcome baseball fans to this edition of State of MLB. In today's video, we'll be covering Game 3 of the World Series, Houston at Washington. Yes, the series is finally switched back to Washington, D.C., and after the road team has taken the first two in Houston, the Houston Astros flip the script and do the same thing as the Washington Nationals to take it to a 2-1 Washington lead. The storyline of this game has been the road show. The road team has won the first 3 games of the World Series, which you'd have to go back several decades to find a World Series where that has happened before. It's quite unprecedented in this modern age of baseball. Now, to get things started here, the Houston Astros were kind of desperate but came in relaxed. They had the back of Zack, who, while he's used to National League ball and he's a good hitter, was mostly irrelevant on the hitting front. Meanwhile, you have Anibal Sanchez, whom did a phenomenal job in Game 1 against St. Louis in the ALCS, but he's also on like a 10-day layover here because he hasn't pitched since Game 1 against St. Louis. Now it's Game 3 in the World Series. That's a long layover, and as pitchers are creatures of habit and have to be in a certain routine, when you're off that long, you can get rusty. Whether or not that played a factor remains to be seen. Let's go ahead and get into our game, shall we? Zack goes 4 2/3 innings, 1.93 ERA, gives up 1 earned run in his almost 5 innings of work, gets 6 strikeouts and 95 pitches. In a similar front, Anibal Sanchez goes 93 pitches, 5 1/3 innings, 6.75 ERA, 4 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. Now, much like the Washington bullpen has done its job to finish off the game after Scherzer and after Game 2 starter, pardon me here, it's Corpus tonight, this was Sanchez, Scherzer, Strasburg in Game 2, pardon me. The pitching, they went so deep, the pitching didn't have to do much, but it was highly effective. Having said that, the Astros bullpen, they practically emptied the tank, sending 5 relievers into this game, but they all did a very solid job. Notice you don't have Presley in there. I noticed. He was just like, wow. That Game 2 implosion was just like, wow. I don't think they could have afforded the Presley in this game. But James Peacock, who's a starter, by the way, Harris, Smith, and Ozuna, who's our closer, goes 4 1/3 innings, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Dominant performance, everything you'd ask for from your bullpen. On the Washington side, Rodney, Ross, and Ciero go 3 2/3 innings, 0 earned runs, and 1 strikeout. Same quality job, just not as many innings, and it's everything you'd expect from a quality bullpen. The turning point of this game, which honestly, when you're as a manager judging whether or not to bat your pitcher in a National League ballpark, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. The turning point of this game, where it was at one point it was just 2-1 at the time when Robles hit the triple, and then Sanchez came up to bat, and you had an opportunity to, granted, it's early in the game, it's only the 4th inning, but it's the second at-bat here, and he's been pitching well, only giving up 2 runs on the game so far. It could go longer. He was pitching sufficiently that Dave Martinez said, I'm going to let him bat and carry on his pitching, and our offense will come back around on this thing. His out caused it was a turning point in the game because it ended the inning, and Washington never got another run the rest of the game. How do you really know what's going to happen the rest of the game? You don't. You take the best information you have at the moment, and you go with it. Sanchez was doing well with pitching, so they figured, okay, go a couple more innings, see what happens. Unfortunately, letting him stay in the game, the Astros scored in both the 5th and the 6th to make it 4-1. Now, at the end of the game, end of the day, you have to wager, okay, is that a turning point in the game? Maybe, maybe not. Because here's the reality situation. Let's say you swap him out for somebody else, for a pinch hitter, and the pitcher happens to get a hit to bring in and tie the game. Does Anibal Sanchez take a tie score and continue to pitch well, or does he still give up that 3rd run? Does he still give up that 4th run? And even if they do tie a score up, does the Washington be able to score anymore? Do they even get the 2nd run? There's no guarantee a pinch hitter is going to score the extra run there, and even if they do, that's only a tie game at that point. And look at how well the bullpen has done. The bullpen was 4 1/3, lights out baseball. Even if you had tied 2-2, you'd still be looking at extra innings. You don't know that you would have scored a 3rd run. You don't know that you wouldn't have given up that 3rd or 4th run if somebody else was pitching. You just don't know. So while that's pegged as a turning point in the game, at the end of the day, did it have that much of a momentum shift in the game? You be the judge. You let me know what you think about that. In the meantime, the Astros open up the scoring in the 2nd inning with a Reddick single, and then Brantley does his damage twice in the game. First in the 3rd, single, 2-0. Then they, by the way, have gone from a home run ball to, hey, we can play Washington a small ball game. We can get runners on and bring them in just as well as anybody else. And at this point in time, they can't afford to go down 3-0. So they get the hits they need. They take advantage of the singles. And the 5th, Brantley gets the 2nd single, goes up 3-1 on Washington. In the 6th, the catcher, Chirinos, gets in on the action with a pop. A nice little home run, boom, for lack of a better word, I guess. It was a great show of power. He tacked on a little 4-1 lead there. A lead that Houston would never sacrifice. And it brings us to a point where Washington's still in control, but now instead of having an overwhelming control of the series, now we're in a situation where both teams have something at stake here. Washington has the opportunity to take a 3-1 series lead and leave open the door for Game 5, bringing Max Scherzer back to close out the World Series on home turf. On the flip side, Houston needs to win at least 2 games in Washington if they want any hope of bringing it back to their home crowd. Now, the home crowd is not something Washington's afraid of. They've gone into St. Louis, they've gone into LA, they've taken 2 in Houston already. Can they win Houston? Yes, but why take the chance if you can close it out in front of your home crowd? Meanwhile, if Houston does win the 2nd game, it is all that amazing triumph of Washington taking 2 in Houston. It's a brand new series if it's tied 2-2. Plus the fact that now Houston has showed, hey, you won our home turf, now we've taken 2 on yours. It's a whole new series, and we've got home field advantage in Houston. It's a major momentum shift for Houston if they can take the Game 2. However, if Washington takes Game 4 and takes a commanding 3-1 lead, then that's a huge dynamic change. Because then, fundamentally, even if Washington can win Game 5 against Max Scherzer, then you're still looking at a 3-2 hole going back home to Houston. Is that surmountable? Sure. But the odds are stacked against you. The other factor that is against Houston going into this game is your starting pitchers. Because fundamentally, Patrick Corbin was their hot acquisition of the Washington Nationals during the offseason. They outbid in both money and years over the Yankees to bring Patrick Corbin to Washington, and he has been every bit a top-of-the-rotation starter they're expecting out of Corbin, and you're putting him up against a relief pitcher. Now, it's a wonderful storyline to be able to say that we have the very first Mexican pitcher opening up a World Series game. Great storyline for diversity. I salute you. Here's the problem I have with it. He's a relief pitcher. You've got Miley. You've got Peacock. They are actual regular season starters. You're telling me you trust a relief pitcher to go as far as he can over going with an established starter who will give you, by default, more length and potentially longer endurance than a relief pitcher. No disrespect to your Kitty. He's been a great, solid relief pitcher. I wish him all the best. I hope he's tremendously successful. But here's the reality situation. He's a relief pitcher. You've got 2 starting pitchers you are not going to in this game. Houston, are you telling me you don't have enough depth in your rotation to go toe-to-toe with the Washington Nationals, our starting pitchers? Because you got a short start from Sanchez, but you got 6 or 7 out of Scherzer and Strasburg. You can easily get 6 or 7 out of Corbin. And you've already drained 5 pitchers in Game 3 just to survive this long. You really want to try and play a bullpen game on the back end of that? Really, Houston? Really, Hinch? Is that what you're trying to do? I wish you the best of luck, but fundamentally, I see Patrick Corbin holding down the show, 3 runs or less over 6 innings or more. Bullpen locks it down. I really see, unless Corbin has an unforeseen bad start for whatever reason, that this is going to be a Washington game. I really do. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear all your feedback on this one. And then we'll, after Game 4, we'll size up Game 5 and let you know what's going to go on in the rest of the series here. But I do think that Washington is going to ride Corbin's back all the way to a 3-0 or 3-1 commanding lead here. So like I said, let me know what you think about what I think in the comment section below. If you just happen to be coming across this video on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps out the channel. I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for your support. Enjoy Game 4 tonight in Washington. Let's go Astros. Let's go Nationals. Let's have a wonderful game. Have a great time. I'll see you next time.